Joining us is Dr. Bruce Dunn, Assistant Professor of Floriculture. Well, Bruce, everybody is looking for a tough plant to grow in Oklahoma, and that's what you're studying here. Tell us about your research.
Thanks, Kim. This is the Cimarron Valley Research Station here. I've got about 3 acres right now under production. I can expand it to about another 2 acres. So I've been here, and the first year that I was here, I've been here about 3 years, and ever since I've been here, I try to add about 15 rows every year that I come.
And you're planting out material that you're evaluating for heat, drought, winter hardiness, all those characteristics?
Right, so I try to collect some plant material that I think is going to take the heat, as well as also the winters here in Oklahoma. Some of this plant material is probably underutilized plant material, so a lot of it doesn't have any cultivars with it, just kind of some of the straight species.
Okay, and what type of material do you begin with?
Generally start with the seeds on this stuff. Again, it's not generally in commerce or in cultivation that much.
Yeah.
So start with seeds in the greenhouse, and then I'll plant it out here, usually in May.
Are you working with any particular groups, native, non-native, perennial, annual?
Some of both. So I've got some of the natives as well as non-natives. Of course, with any of the natives, there are species that are native as well as not native. So I've got some of both out here.
Okay. And where do you look for collecting your seed? Are there certain areas?
Yeah, I want areas that, again, are used to the heat. So probably Southwest United States. So anywhere Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, those kind of places.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at some of the different groups you've been working with. Here are the rain lilies, and I just love these. We have a bunch in the garden that I really enjoy. You mentioned cold hardiness. Is that an issue with these?
Yeah, so these are right on the borderline. They're actually zone 7, Stillwater zone 6 or zone 7. So I wasn't sure if these are going to be hardy or not. Pretty nice because they flush every time that it rains. So you can see all the seed pods here.
Yeah, they've just recently flowered. Any challenges, or what are some of the struggles that you try to overcome when you're selecting?
Yeah, so with these, you never know. So generally I'll try to plan out, if I like a genus, I'll try to plan out all the species and see which ones, again, can take the heat, which ones can take the cold, or if there's any other problems. For these, they actually had no pest problems listed, but we found out that there's a blister beetle that'll actually eat on the leaves, the flowers, and the seed pods on these.
I suppose that limits your work a bit.
Yeah, so it helps select, I suppose.
What other plants, have you had that in other plants that you're working with, some sort of pest problem?
Yeah, we've seen it with some other stuff out here as well. So the milkweeds get that milkweed aphid on it, those kind of yellowish orange aphids. And then also I've got some Baptisia back here as well, and they've got this Genista broom caterpillar on it.
We had a lot of those in the garden this year. I did notice you have some Baptisia that don't seem to be as damaged.
Yeah, so some of the species I think are going to hold up a little bit better than others.
Well, I guess that gives you a jumping off point to continue your research with that. This is another group that I know you've been working with a lot. I've seen rows and rows of mallows planted out. Tell us about these.
Right, so these are globe mallows, and again I pulled these from, again, like New Mexico or Utah, and so I knew that they would take the heat. I wasn't sure about the winters or not. And some of these species are actually better than others. So this is actually Spirosia ambigua. Okay, so it's one species, kind of has the blue foliage to it. It's got orange flowers to it. Other ones over here that we can see are pretty much upright.
They're a lot more open.
Yeah, really open, sparse, and so those aren't ones that I'm interested in or that I'm going to select for.
So in this case, you were using the physical attributes to kind of limit your focus, and you went with the more compact. What other attributes did you really key in on those?
Yeah, just mainly just how compact they are, and also size. So some of them can be, 6, 8 feet tall. So I'm looking for something that's short and compact.
Okay, and I really like the blue foliage on those as well.
It stands out.
Is there another group of interest out here that you're really working with?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a wide range of plant material out here. I probably have at least 80 different genera, probably 200 different species. Another one that's pretty nice out here is the Dalias. Okay, Kim, this is that Dalia that I was talking about. So it has nice blue foliage, nice compact kind of growth habit. This is actually a 3-year-old plant. The first year it flowered, it was purple. Really hasn't flowered since, but it's still a pretty nice plant that even during the heat of the summer, when other plants don't look as good, this is what it's going to look like.
Well, and that's an important thing, is to have a plant that's going to hold its appearance all year long. Well, in addition to summer, you've been looking at a plant material that's showy in winter, and that's a little bit different for our herbaceous perennials. Let's go look at that one.
Sounds good. So with these, they're pretty interesting. I had one of the species that was flowering over the winter time, nice yellow leaves. So I collected a number of different of the species within the genus that I'm looking at here.
And there's quite a bit of variability if you look at just the leaves, the color of them, the shape. This one's got just a nice form altogether. But then you get the winter flowering, and what a nice trait to have.
Right, so they'll actually hold up during the summer, but yeah, during the winter time when a lot of things aren't flowering, these should be flowering then.
I remember seeing this group of plants in your greenhouse as well. Tell us about the connection between the two research areas.
Yeah, so last time that we met, we were talking about plant breeding, and I was taking some of this seed from these plants and treating those with those like chemical mutagen to induce mutations.
Okay, so you've been working with these to try to get some new and interesting mutations, maybe
Right.
different flowers and such.
Yeah, but also I just wanted to plant out some of the species just to kind of evaluate those, how well they would hold up to Oklahoma conditions.
Excellent. Yeah, I imagine that once you've identified something interesting in the greenhouse, you come out here and test it.
Right, so just because it looks good in the greenhouse does not mean that it's going to look good in the field.
Excellent. Well, I know that a lot of your research out here is part of a grant, and you're looking at some new material for Oklahoma. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I got an ODAF specialty crop grant last year, and with that I had probably, I think, 80 different genera, maybe about 150 different species that we planted out here. Started from seed in the greenhouse, planted them out here in the field, and then just evaluating them, so see whether they survived the summer or not. Last summer was one of the hottest summers on record, it happened to turn out to be. Then also whether they can take the winters as well. Then I'll collect data on heights and widths.
Yeah, well, we've had some really hard summers to test these plants out and see who's the toughest. Now, I imagine a big part of that is doing these evaluations over several years, you know, especially after we've had a summer like last.
Right, so yeah, anytime you're doing evaluations, again, it's a multiple year system or program, because yeah, we had a winter 2 years ago that was really cold. Last winter was not that cold. So over, 3-5 year average, it kind of gives you a better idea on maybe some of the extremes, how well the plants hold up.
Well, Bruce, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of this research and some new tough plants to introduce here in Oklahoma.
Thanks for coming out, Kim.